gosh, I cannot believe you had to get that special drink.
What?
You are so late.
It's a peppermint mocha still. I got to get that before it goes out of style.
God, we are so late.
Thank goodness he has lots of hair to pull out these days. I have not seen the wheel.
It's really good. We just finished it.
Is it a movie or is it a show?
It's
like
a show,
series?
but it's like a shorter show.
What is wrong with you? Just open the door. I don't understand why it's so hard. What are you guys doing?
We're recording the podcast. What are you doing?
No, I found better talent. We're good.
Really?
Yeah, really.
You're paying for their college then.
No. Hello, and welcome to this special edition of This Thing Called Church. This is our youth takeover edition of the podcast today. Normally, I would have it'd be me sitting over here and Karen leading us and Kevin Turner, our Director of Music Ministries, with us. But today, I have two very special guests for episode 17 of This Thing Called Church. I have Anna-Liz Turner and Sarah Payne, who have joined us to talk a little bit about youth and faith and the church, and to help us get their perspective on things at DUMC. So thanks for joining me today, guys. I'm glad you're both here.
Yeah.
So while we begin, why don't you introduce yourselves to me just a little bit? I know you a little bit and a little bit about your story, but maybe whatever you'd want folks to know about you.
All right. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I'm Sarah Payne, and I'm Karen Payne's Director of Communications daughter, so that's why we're here a lot. I'm involved in a lot of the youth stuff. I'm in Choir and Bells. I go to Sunday night youth group, and I am on youth council.
Cool. Yep.
Great.
And how old are you, Sarah? Which grade are you in?
15th, and I'm a freshman.
Okay, so you're a
Ninth
freshman
grade.
in high school. Where do you go to high school?
I go to Pine Lake.
Pine Lake. Okay. How about you, Anna-Liz?
All right. I'm Anna-Liz Turner. I'm Kevin Turner's daughter, oldest. I'm in ninth grade at CSD. I'm also in Choir and Bells, so Sarah and I are pretty close.
So you guys are the same class in school?
Yeah. Same grade, different schools.
Same grade, different schools. Yeah. Our youth seems pretty typical for our youth, right? We're kind of scattered all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's not a lot of the same schools, but we still manage to make friends somehow.
Yeah. So how many high schools are there? So that I know that I hear about folks at Huff, CSD, Pine
Yeah.
Lake. What are some of the others?
Lincoln
Huff is a big
Charter,
one. Lincoln Charter.
Christ the King,
Lake Norman Charter is one. There's a lot around here.
Langtree.
Langtree.
That's a lot.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, when I was in youth, I grew up out in a rural part of North Carolina. There were like 2 high schools. So we were, you saw everybody on Sunday and you saw most of everybody on, Monday through Friday too. So it's a little different, right? When you're sort of scattered and in different places.
It's definitely
sure.
interesting.
But
Our schools are rival schools.
Yeah, we actually are. It comes a bit of a competition when it gets to sports with Pine Lake and CSD, but
Yeah.
we figured it out.
So you guys, both of your parents just happen to work, both of you each have a parent that works here at Davidson. And one in communications and one who plays the piano and other stuff. Right? Yeah. So what's it like being a staff member's kid? Like I've raised preachers' kids, so I know a little bit about, our 3, Salem, Abby, and Eli, spent a whole lot of time at the church. But what's it like being a staff person's kid?
I mean, kind of the same thing. We're here a lot. We're here pretty much all day, every Sunday. Mondays, we spend the whole afternoon here. Wednesdays, we spend the whole afternoon here. And sometimes we're here other times, but that's kind of the main days. So we're here for bells, church, and choir.
Yeah.
What's the rehearsal schedule? So I can't keep up with Kevin. It's crazy.
It's a lot.
Mondays, bells
at 4:15 for high school, and then middle school is after. And then choir, I think, is 6?
5:30.
5:30? Okay, I don't know.
That's all on Monday?
That's on Wednesday.
Oh, that's on Wednesday.
That's on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And there was also youth band on Monday
There's
as
youth
well.
band on Mondays. We have youth dinner that we go to before choir on Wednesdays. So youth group is really cool in that we get to like, it's a different group of people, but there's like enough, it's cool. It's cool to like go in between.
So that's quite a commitment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of time.
We trade it for the world.
Yeah, we learned that choir and bells has kind of taken over a lot of our Mondays and Wednesdays, but it's fun because the community there is just so great. And like, even if we have a little bit of time after or before, it's always a fun time to get to know the people a little bit more, hang out with everybody.
Right. So do you guys also do musical kinds of things outside of church, in the community, at school?
Yeah. I mean, I obviously, I took piano lessons. I think I started when I was 5, and then I quit in 6th grade and moved to flute. And then I quit when COVID hit because virtual lessons was rough. But I'm still playing flute in band right now. I'm taking guitar lessons at the moment. I kind of know ukulele, self-taught, and then piano is so-so, you know.
So you play you sing in choir at school, or you play in the band at school?
I play in the band. We have a Showtime choir, but it's kind of not a big deal at CSD.
Right. How about you, Sarah?
I just play the cello.
You just play
orchestra,
the cello?
yeah. Pine Lake Orchestra.
Pine Lake.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love the cello. That's one of my favorite instruments.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have your own cello, or do you use one from school?
I have my own cello, but me and Emma share it, my sister. So.
Yeah, so you get to lug that around and try to get it in and out of the car.
Yep, that's a really fun experience. Getting it off the bus is a rough time.
At least it's not a harp, right?
I know, yeah.
That's why I chose flute.
Yeah, I think it was the Requiem back in the fall. We had a harpist, and we helped her put her harp in. But she was not a very big person, but she could
gorgeous.
Throw that thing around,
Yeah.
that harp around. It was a huge instrument, and I said, like, you have to do this everywhere you go. And she said, yep. I guess some places maybe that she plays, they have a harp for her, but that's quite a commitment to lug an instrument that size around. So thinking about church and just kind of life here at DUMC, beyond the ways that you guys are engaged in serving in the church through music and youth and other things that you do, what are some of the things that have been that are important to you or have been important to you that have helped kind of shape your faith, that have helped you get this far in your life of faith? Well,
I mean, I've been here since I was born. So I did preschool, Sunday school since I was really, really little. Sunday school for a lot of like elementary. We did the Bible class in 3rd grade when they gave us our Bibles. That was a pretty big one for me. I still have that Bible. Were you there for that? Yeah, you were here.
I was there for that, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you at that point. We did confirmation together last year.
Yeah, I would say confirmation's one of the big turning points.
Pretty big, yeah.
We were in the same class together.
It's true.
It was also her mom teaching, which was awesome. And I think we both had a really changing experience with confirmation.
Yeah.
And it really kind of paved the way for our faith.
What's something that really kind of stuck out for you guys through confirmation? That's 8th grade, right? We do confirmation in 8th grade.
Yeah.
8th grade and up.
8th grade and up. Is there something that you remember, something you learned, something that stuck with you, like I hadn't thought about that before, or it kind of, maybe it helped change your faith or strengthen your faith, that experience?
I mean, I would say there was, I think, one time because they did a whole thing with all the pastors came and taught like one lesson, and Jim came, I'm pretty sure. I don't really remember all the details, but the lesson was about how Jesus was both fully human and fully divine. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's really hard to get my head around.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is hard to wrap your head around.
Yes. Right. Yeah. And we also didn't, because of COVID, we didn't get the retreat.
That's true.
We
didn't get to go to any of the
normally you would go to like
churches.
Different churches and experience like all of that, which we didn't get, which is fine. We still had a retreat-ish that was here at the church.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. That was kind of a good experience, and that we kind of did a lot of hands-on things, which I think kind of helped me kind of learn it. And I also had a lot of questions for Miss Cindy, who was awesome with that. So
Yeah, we did go to breakfast one day, and
yeah.
that was a really cool time. It was
Yeah, we
fun
went
experience.
to breakfast and just kind of talked about some of the side things that we don't always talk about, but I think it was really good to kind of clarify some things.
Yeah, questions are good. And Anselm, St. Anselm talks about faith seeking understanding. So in other words, you don't have to understand everything and then you can have faith. It's that you have a faith and relationship with God, and in that relationship you seek deeper understanding. So God's good with questions. I think that's it's okay to ask lots of questions. I hope our church can always be a place where people engage their minds, love God with their minds, and ask good questions. You mentioned COVID and the lack of, or not being able to have kind of a normal retreat experience in confirmation. So maybe more than adults in some ways, youth, young adults, children have been impacted by the COVID pandemic, like your all of life. And you guys have been doing this now 2020, most of 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
And here we are at the beginning of a new year. Here we're in 2022, and we're still doing it in some ways differently, but we're still doing it. What's that been like for you guys? What's your experience through that? Have you learned anything about yourselves or just life in general?
I mean, COVID started when we were in 7th grade, and we're in 9th grade right now. So
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to go from middle school to high school during COVID.
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can't really compare it to how it would have gone differently, but I think that having COVID kind of would change like anything.
Yeah.
In church, when we were online, I mean, I like the online services now, because even if you're like, if you get snowed in, we can we can still watch at
Yeah.
church, and it's always going to be there, which I think is kind of
My
a
brother,
nice-
my Isaac, he's 11. It's his birthday today, actually.
Happy birthday,
yeah,
Isaac.
Happy birthday, Isaac. He does work with the digital ministries team on Sunday mornings, which is really cool to hear about from him, because I'm more usually like singing, but it's cool to hear, like he'll finish up and he'll be like, oh, that was so cool. You guys did so
Yeah.
great. The microphones were picking up. I was like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
so,
it's-
yeah,
It's
neat.
a different way to be the church, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a lot to get used to, but I'm proud of how we've gotten through it, I think.
Oh, they've done a great job. I mean, Brian Abe and Karen and all of there are a ton of volunteers every Sunday morning that help make all that go. It's really, and like, if we are snowed in, we can still gather for worship. It's not the same way, but it's still, we're still able to do that. It's pretty special. So COVID's been a thing like that. I mean, I don't know if folks heard you, Anna Liz, but this started in 7th grade, and
Seventh
you're
grade.
now in 9th grade.
Yep.
Just imagine that. We're still sort of working our way through this. We've learned a lot. Maybe we're handling it a little better than at the beginning, I hope. Hopefully it's going to, normalcy, whatever that means, will return at some point. And we'll get back to some of the things that we enjoy and love. But it's obviously impacted you and your faith and the experiences you've had at church, trips, those kinds of things maybe that you could take or couldn't take. So it's been a big part of our life and our learning as people
Yeah.
of people of faith. Yeah. What's been the most? Well, you've talked a little bit about this, but would you say that confirmation has been so far the most formative thing in your kind of Christian faith, in your relationship with God, the most sort of memorable and important?
Yeah.
Or is it that more ongoing stuff that you do every week? Or maybe it's all of it.
It's kind of hard to narrow it down. There's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
I would say confirmation was a big one on kind of starting a bigger path, and kind of almost like an introduction to what really is happening in the church. And there's a lot. I really think the trips, like the mission trips that we go on for youth, or the choir trips,
Yeah.
those are really impactful, and some of the stuff is just really life-changing, and it's really, all about it, like growing with your people and doing activities that you're doing for God, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. How about you, Annalise?
I think if I had to narrow like my personal faith down to one specific moment, it would probably be, no offense, you weren't there, Camp Toccoa. I think it was probably the summer before 7th grade, so before COVID. And we were like, it was out on the bonfire on the last night. And I just kind of remember looking up and being like, wow, like this is a really cool, like, I'm glad I get to be a part of this. I'm glad I was
Yeah.
born into the church.
Yeah. Was that a church retreat at Camp
It was,
the
yeah.
church
So Camp
retreat.
Toccoa is a church. No, not a church. It's a camp, a Christian camp
It's in Hendersonville?
Yeah, it's
Hendersonville,
out in
yeah.
Hendersonville. Was that the DUMC family event at Camp, or was it like
no,
a
it was a normal summer
normal
camp.
week, a normal week at summer camp?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a pretty special place.
It is really.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a good friend, James Johnson, who used to be the director there. He's moved on now and is
Yeah.
a camp director out west, but he and I were in seminary together. So, yeah, it's. I know Camp Toccoa has shaped a lot of people's lives. There are a lot of colleagues I know in ministry who kind of got their start at Camp Toccoa. So be careful. You never know where that might end up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
So I thought about this when we were thinking about when I was thinking about our conversation today, and I was wondering if you were Pope for the day, like if you were given the responsibility of like setting the direction for the whole church. We don't have popes in the Methodist Church, but that's kind of when folks think about somebody in charge of church who can like make a difference and make a change. Usually, you think of somebody like the Pope who's sort of in charge. But if you were like leader for the day and you could change something about, not necessarily about DUMC because it's perfect, right? But if you could change something about the church from your perspective as a young adult coming up and from the way that you see the life of faith, what would you change or do differently?
I don't know. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, because I'm friends with a lot of people like at school that don't really go to church that much, and I think like somehow, I don't know how this would be like translate, but like just, I don't know, be more welcoming, I guess, as a community. Like let people know that we're open. Like I don't know, not trying to force people to come, like, oh, you should come, but like
Right.
I guess there's kind of a like letting people know that, hey, we're here and we'll accept you.
Yeah.
We'll love you, you know?
Yeah.
I think people don't know that. It's
Yeah.
kind of sad for me to see.
Yeah.
My
How
friends.
about you, Sarah? Is there something you?
Kind of similar. I mean, I think the church is very welcoming, and I don't think it's the problem with the church. I think it's just people don't completely know. Like there's
Yeah.
stereotypes around
Mhm.
every church, and I think that we just need to figure out a way to break down those stereotypes a little bit more, and kind of just put it out there.
Yeah. How do your friends who are not a part of the church, what do you think they think about church in general? What is their perspective?
Well, I mean,
And you don't have to name their names.
well, I think us being so involved, they kind of know that because we spend so much time here, that they know we're very involved, and
Yeah.
every person is different with their faith, and I think that they know that everybody I think a lot of people now are a little more respectful of everybody's individual faith.
Yeah.
And they kind of respect us and just kind of let it be. It's not all of people's territory.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think as far as I've seen, people seem to think that it's like church is kind of this like stuck up, like, you have to follow every single rule, which
Right.
I guess there is that to a certain level, but I don't think that's the focus of it. Like it's about love. And that doesn't translate well to the world, I think.
Yeah.
People don't get it.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think the perception sometimes is it's about rules. Like here are the things you can do and here are the things you can't do.
Yeah.
And it's really not about that, right? It's about so much more. So, what would you want folks to know about your generation?
Oh,
Like, what do you think think's misunderstood, or that like if you could say, no, this is what we're really like.
I mean, do you mean like within DUMC or
No, I
like
think
just as
in
a
general,
whole?
just people in general, as they,
Oh.
older adults like your dad, like Kevin, old people like Kevin. Sorry, Kevin, but I'm older than your dad, so I can make fun of him. But so yeah, just in general, people have perceptions about every generation. Like old people are like this, and young people are like that, but sometimes those generalizations are not healthy and they're not accurate either. So what would you have folks know about young adults who are your age and kind of coming along and who are going to be out of high school soon and in college and starting your life?
I mean, we don't not care about church, I guess, as a generation. I think people still, they care about being spiritual, but it's like coming to church is the issue, I guess. People are having a hard time with, especially during COVID as well.
Yeah.
But it's, as a generation, we don't not care.
Yeah. And I think we really just want kind of a community to just go to and have church as like a safe place where you just know everything's going to be okay. Any worries about school, any stress on sports, anything other than, where you are right now with church, kind of just having church as a safe place is kind of really important for us.
Yeah.
And I think not forcing church on everybody is kind of a way to, obviously parents are going to push you to go wherever you want, but
That's our job.
yeah. But I think kind of letting us choose our own paths is kind of an important decision for us.
I think church needs to be like a sanctuary, a safe spot,
Yeah, it's I think that's a great image, Anna Liz, that church can hopefully be a sanctuary, a place of hope, a place of welcome, a place of community and belonging. Because there's so many other parts of our world that are not those things, that are not welcoming, that aren't places of belonging, that don't feel like community, where people feel isolated and alone. If church can be a place that's kind of counter to that and offers a different way of being human together, folks might want to come and be a part of that, right? They don't want to come and be a part of the rules club. Right, I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not interested in that either. But folks, I do think, and I think this transcends the generations. I think for most folks who are outside of the church, for whom church weekly isn't kind of their thing, they're still looking for a place to belong. They're looking for community, for friends, for people to help them walk through life, for a safe space that they're welcome and encouraged. And I think
it's human nature.
Yeah, it is human nature.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think we just have to figure out more and more ways of doing that and living into that as a faith community. And that's why I'm excited you guys are a part of the church, that your voice is a part of our conversation about how to be the church more faithfully, because we need to listen to you and you guys need to listen to us, and together we figure out how to move forward. So I hope you experience that here. I think you do, or you wouldn't keep coming back.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
true.
your parents work here, but that's not the only reason you're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else you want us to know today, or you want to share? Something you said, when we record this, I want to make sure that I say this so that folks get a chance to hear it.
The reason I asked to be here today was to defend my honor. And this is not a very serious thing, but a few episodes back, I do, contrary to popular belief, I do occasionally watch this podcast.
It's true.
Anyway, there was I don't know how far back it was, but y'all were talking about the group me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he made fun of me for talking about camel meat. And
camel meat.
I would like
remember
to
that
say
episode.
that was because he said Happy Meat Day and then sent a camel gif, like a Happy Hump Day gif. And I was like, why are you talking about camels and meat? Like camel meat? Anyway, that was it.
Well, I think you have defended your honor.
Yeah.
And does he pay you to watch the podcast? That's the question.
I'm not allowed to disclose that.
Okay. All right. I won't force you to answer. How about Sarah? Do you ever? I don't want to put you on the spot. Do you ever watch it?
I do watch. I've seen a couple.
You've seen a couple episodes. Yeah.
I watch it on Spotify.
Yeah,
It's nice to
listening
listen
is
to
also-
and walk.
Yeah, we're on Spotify. That's crazy.
Yep.
Somebody helped. I think Karen figured out how to do that, or maybe you helped Karen figure out.
A
How
little
to do
bit.
that. Yeah. See, we need young people in the church, so old people like us know how to do stuff. Well, it's been great talking to you guys today.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having us.
introducing you to folks who maybe don't, who see you on a Sunday morning, maybe singing or playing bells, but have never met you, don't know what your names are, but now they do. And I think you represented the youth of our church really well. And I enjoyed our conversation. I think it's good to be with you today. So, friends, thanks for joining us today and for this youth takeover edition of this thing called church. We're glad you're with us, and hope you enjoyed listening in and learning a little bit about the perspective of our youth from Sarah and from Anna Liz. And we're just glad that you're a part of our conversation today. So until next time, take care. God bless.